is Almeria Life, bringing you an insight into life here on the Costa Almeria, and brought to you by Remax Paraíso, the experts in property sales in this part of Andalusia. Now, the province of Almeria has for decades attracted artists from all over Spain and also from many other countries as well. And today I'm with British artist Jeremy Fox-Rayner, who relocated to the Costa Almeria, I believe it was about 10 years ago now.
Yes.
And I would say that, well, one of the things which almost certainly has attracted so many artists to this region over the years is this very special light, which today is a perfect example of this very special light that we have here. Was that one of the things that brought you and your family here?
Well, I used to paint a lot in Norfolk.
Right.
And many of my artist friends said, wow, how could you leave Norfolk, the light's so good? But I would say here is as good or better.
Really?
Yeah, and the extraordinary landscapes are just mind-blowing for artists because they're just so different and nice, and the planting is nice, everything's, and you bathe with the perfect light.
And year-round as well.
Yeah.
I mean, and your wife Evie are professional artists,
Yes.
professional artists and designers. And you do all sorts of things. You create all sorts of things. So what are you working on at the moment?
Really, I have a variety of interesting projects. I mean, that's the thing that drives you as an artist, I think, is that, well, one thing I learned very early on is that you never say no.
Right.
You say yes and then find out quickly how you're going to do it. But I think that makes life interesting, and any challenge is always good.
Never a bit nerve-wracking as well?
Yes, of course. I mean, sometimes when you're faced with a giant wall, 7 meters by 3 meters, and you've just driven 1,000 miles to go and paint it, and Evie says, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "I don't actually know yet." but it always comes. It's
yeah.
And when you see it, it's a strange thing that living in a place like this, the kind you absorb so much detail that you don't realise until it comes out. The things that you pick up, as an artist, you kind of you're like a sponge, I suppose you could say. And you pick up on particular way things work, the way colours work, and it pops out. And people have told me this before. I recognise that. In fact, I painted as a demonstration piece of how you could paint the sea, the sky, and the very dry sort of vegetation. And someone said, "Oh, I've been there. That's Cabo de Gata." I said, "No." They said, "Yeah, no, yeah, I've been there." And I said, "Well, I haven't been yet, but I painted it without knowing."
Really?
Yeah.
So do you find that your creative processes work differently here from your creative processes in Britain? Does it have a sort of a completely different feel to it, what you create here?
Well, as you probably know, I'm sure we've discussed this before, the creative process is one of those things that is impossible to define. And, as an artist, you consider yourself extremely lucky that you're able to, dip into the depths of the cerebellum, from which I think is where it comes from. And in England, I think that because of most of the time it's more commercial, so a lot of the times you're expected to create something within a given time limit, invariably which would be cut short.
Right.
And so it was much more stressful in that sense. Whereas here, I think you're given a much greater freedom as an artist. As people are just so pleased to have artists,
Right.
So the beautiful thing about Mahaka is that the whole thing was evolved from artists, wasn't it? It was an artist's kind of...
Very much so. So do you think this really is a sort of near perfect, as near can be perfect environment for artistic people?
I would say so. We have genuinely invited other artists to come, and they've moved here.
Really?
So I think that's a statement of fact that people come and go, "Oh yes, just love it."
Yeah.
They can see what we see as artists, and I think that and also the freedom thing, I think, is also very important, is because you perceived as an artist, you're perceived in a kind of slightly elevated status, whereas in the UK you're probably just another helpful person.
That's interesting.
Yeah, you're regarded as so something perhaps a little bit better than your average.
So artists are valued here.
Yes.
That's really what you're saying.
Yes.
Which is so for another reason for it being a great environment for artistic people.
So you know this what I call lanterns. I like the window lights as well. That's lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got one.
Yeah, it's got
10 drums. If you wanted to cover up the difference between
I like, yeah. Okay, so you've got to bring all your materials.
And we should say as well as creating work, that you also teach.
Yes.
You offer classes in various places around the Costa Almaria.
Yes.
Now, are these classes for artists? People who maybe not professional, but people who have been painting or drawing or creating for some time, or is it also for people who go, well, now I've got the time, maybe I'd like to dabble, see what I'm capable of?
I think that's the main thing, is that we can offer right from really the sort of bare bones basic. Last time I picked up a pencil was at school or something.
Yeah.
But they still have the creative urge there, and for whatever reason, life's taken them in other courses, I think that's we kind of can say we specialise in sort of absolutely anything from absolute beginners to onwards to I've had professional artists who've lost a particular skill that they perhaps developed at art college, and then their life has taken them into other areas where a narrower kind of should we say artistic field, and then needed to kind of like for instance, I had a friend who's professional artist, worked in the movies and things, and was asked to create a portrait, and had actually lost the ability to draw somebody's face, and said, well, what am I going to do? How am I going to get it back? So we did a course of life drawing, and and that really does draw you right back to your basics, and you have to think and look and evaluate, and and lo and behold, he was able to start again, really.
Wow, that's a very satisfying for you, I imagine, as well.
Well, yes, I think so. Absolutely, yeah. But I mean, as an artist, you have to be particularly analytical, and the thing about stepping out of what you know and seeing what you see as opposed to what your brain tells you is there.
And we should say as well that in the classes that you do, you whatever people, if they like to paint with watercolours, or you might suggest that they might try doing something different. It's all sort of different mediums, isn't it? It's not just, we do watercolour classes, or we do...
No, I think that's the thing, really, is that art shouldn't be restrictive. It's kind of one could say an undisciplined discipline.
Yeah.
In that you have to abide by certain rules of the materials that you're using. But in the other sense, it's way more freeing if you can play with things, and multimedia, and use anything.
Yeah.
Use anything which drives you. Because the creative thing is driven by this kind of strange process of the materials, and you seeing things that are available in this serendipity thing.
Yeah.
Fantastic, because people say, well, can I do this with this? And I go, yes, do it, try it, because you have to try things, you have to learn new ways, and I think some people have had begun their artistic career with watercolour classes, and because it's a very restrictive discipline, in that you have to have made lots of decisions before you can, because you work from light to dark, so all your whites have to be reserved or added afterwards. With other medium, you can play it both ways. You don't have to draw necessarily. You can draw with a brush instead of drawing with a pencil. You can paint with a pencil instead of drawing. There's so many different ways of expressing yourself.
Oh gosh, and clearly this is the kind of thing that somebody just sort of dabbling at home on their own would never know. They need somebody like you
to
be able to guide them, and to open the doors, and then presumably from being in a class with other people, they also get the ideas and inspiration
That
from,
really
or
does
possibly
work.
criticism from from being with other people.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I think you could say that there is definitely a group dynamic that's at work, and that creative people, in the same room as other creative people, things happen. They really do.
Yeah.
And, oh, that's nice. And people take little ideas from things, and it fires off your imagination, and other things happen, and that's fantastic. Really, really fantastic when that happens. And people will say, I'm going back to the UK for a fortnight. I've got my stuff with me. They take it to England with them, come back again, haven't done a thing, because they need that kind of kind of togetherness, the thing that makes it happen.
So definitely encourage anybody to come along.
Absolutely.
They discover all sorts of creative talents that they'd really thought they didn't have. Or
Well, I have a strict set of rules that I adhere to as an artist. Rule one is there are no rules. It's important to realise that if you as the artist are in control of all the art, so I'm doing this wrong, it isn't a phrase which ever enters. There's no such thing as wrong. Only an opportunity for creation.
yeah, I remember that. I like that very much. But talking of creative people, isn't it? If it weren't enough that you're a very talented artist, you're also a musician. I mean, really, some people just get more than their fair share. Again, is that something that you find that living here gives you more impetus to?
Fantastic. I mean, I've often said before that you come to Mahaka, it's a wash with artists and musicians. The music scene is incredible here, absolutely amazing. And we get visiting artists, famous ones, who come over here because they feel the vibe. In Mahaka the same, and it's glorious really in that the venues often will provide live music from really, really good bands. One has to say the standards are very high. For no money, there's no fee. Yeah. You come in and have a few drinks, and you get the music, and that's incredible. I think that's kind of unique to Mahaka, is that it's a big draw.
Prolific artist, a very creative artist, but he's in fact really, I should say, one half of a creative team formed by Jeremy and by wife Evie, who's also a professional artist. Now Evie, you and Jeremy, between you, produce beautiful pieces from paintings, painted furniture, and a whole range of items. Stuff which is very much your original work, but also you customize paintings, whatever, that people want. So there's a whole kind of huge spectrum to what it is that you do and what you offer people, not just artists for your own creative satisfaction.
No. Yeah. Yes, if anyone has a favourite painting, famous painting or otherwise, we can copy it, copy the colours. We can paint anything actually, portraits, anything at all, landscapes. If they want their own particular painting of them in a dress, a flamenco dress or whatever, we can do that. We can do whatever colours. I tend to paint large, quite large, as you notice.
Yes.
Yeah, which I prefer. It gives a lot more character, and I use a really big brush. That's the way I paint. Completely different to Jeremy. He's much more controlled than me in all ways. So that's me.
So this is very much your own creative style, your own artistic
Yes.
style, which is more for you, really,
It's more,
isn't
yes,
it?
it's sort of really an impressionist style.
Yes.
You know, just lots of colour, and hopefully in the end it looks like something. But yeah, I just love it. Absolutely love it.
But on top of that, you do, well, it's just such many different things, but the beautiful hand-painted furniture as well, which
Yes.
is really something
Yes.
which I think a lot of people like very much.
Yes, that was just me having old furniture and wanted to paint it. And then it started to sell, and that's what normally happens, is I'll do something, somebody likes it, and Jeremy's famous term is, could be yours, you know. So you think, okay then, that's that sold. But yes, I love colour. I just absolutely love colour.
And again, like Jeremy, do you find that you get very inspired by being in these beautiful surroundings here
Yes,
in
totally,
southern
of
Spain
course.
and all the different
Yeah,
colours? And
yes, the sun's out, and it just totally inspires you. I love it. Yeah, perfect for artists.
so people, all they need to do is they can get in touch with you. They can have a look at the kind of things that
Yes,
you've done for other people and
yes,
for yourselves.
yes.
Or they can suggest something and ask you if
Always
you would be
ask.
able
And,
to do.
and generally it would be a yes, we
Yeah.
can do it, you know.
Because you do work very much as a team. You've
Yes.
mentioned that you kind of
We can
work off each other.
Yeah, we've done murals together, and we can swap over and take over each other's painting, and you wouldn't know the difference,
Oh,
you know.
extraordinary.
So yeah, and like I'll say to Jeremy about, you know, what about this colour? What do you think I should put there? And he'll come up with what I was going to do anyway,
Yeah.
and vice versa. We, you know, quite often there's couples sort of argue about the colour of a bedroom or whatever. It just doesn't even come into it. It's just automatic.
You're just there on that
It's just-
same
yeah.
artistic wavelength,
Yeah.
although you both have your very distinctive styles.
Very distinctive, yeah, for painting. Yeah.
And mentioning house colours, this is another sort of aspect of what you offer people is that you home staging. People who want to
Yes.
sell their properties, you've got that interior
Yeah,
designer
we're-
background and
Yeah,
eye.
we had our own design company in England, very
Right,
successful.
right.
And that is one of the things we used to do in England
Yeah.
with agents or private clients, to go in and stage their homes ready for selling and advise them. And we used to do show houses,
Right.
and that was our bread and butter, in fact.
Well, yes, because especially now we've got a property market which is really
Yeah.
beginning to move again.
Yeah.
Obviously, people want to be able to make their property stand out
And
from the
and
others.
And it was amazing. It just took off, and I'd be in our studio with like 12 different rooms all at once, you know, and
Yeah.
it was just ongoing. It was full on, 7 days a week.
And is this very much here that you can, if people they sort of need just a little bit of help and how they
Yeah,
can maybe move
fine.
things around, or a
Yes.
more kind of in-depth?
Yeah,
Assistance.
either or. Yeah, if somebody said to us, I don't know what to do with the bedroom, what you've got any ideas? We can just do that. You know,
Yeah.
just go in and give them a few tips. You know, say how to change it around. And sometimes a bit of furniture from one room can be moved, and it changes the character of that room.
Yeah, yeah.
And it is hard when it's your home. It's very hard to sell. You know, you have to look at it in abstract. That, you know, it's just to sell. You know, the home side has got to go. Your character has got to go out of it.
And this is why having somebody like, the advice of somebody like you is so invaluable, because it could make the difference, couldn't it, between selling and not selling?
It's
that
the trick.
first impressions thing.
Always, as
Yeah.
you know, it's somebody needs to walk in and instantly think, I could live here.
Yeah.
You know, instead of, oh, I'm not sure about that. You know, that's what you need. It's
And then when they've
appeal
got
as
the
well.
new home, they can
Yes.
contact you for,
Yes.
for beautiful
Yeah,
items. I mean,
yeah,
really, it's just the possibilities are infinite, really.
Yes, we sort of, yes, yeah, you name it, we can do
So,
it, really. It
People
sounds
who
awful.
would like to find out more information about particularly the art classes or the work that you do or the music, how can they find out more information about you?
One of the easiest ways is probably Facebook, because you know, Facebook has become one of those things where you know, people can see what you do. You can post things. It's you know, and when things change, it's you know, possible to keep everyone in touch with what's going on, in touch with other artists
Sure,
as well. Really
sure.
good. And we are creating a website too.
Excellent.
So which will be able to, you know, and the groups on Facebook is good too, you know, because there's, you know, lots of nice Italianos and so on. You know, there's all artist groups around. which keeps everybody else in touch as well. So the people who are working in the arts, in the flamenco and everything else, it's absolutely incredible because nobody sees the barriers between things. And that's the other thing I like about here is that there doesn't seem to be any barrier between other disciplines. Flamenco does, well, that's good. When they hear a bit of blues and blues people, well, there's a rhythm in that, and it's kind of all intertwined.
Yeah,
Fabulous.
Yeah. They were very lucky here. We have this huge choice of cultural events happening, very talented people, and lots of opportunities to try things ourselves.
Yes.
Thanks to people like you.
Well, and also I think that there's a far lesser element of people trying to use it to make a bit of money. And it's kind of much freer, and everybody has to earn a crust.
Sure.
But it's an awful lot better, shall we say, the arrangement that everybody seems to have.
Well, I certainly meet a lot of people who are very passionate about what they do.
Yes, I think that's the thing.
Very passionate.
Absolutely, the passion comes through, and so so if you covered your expenses, but you've put on a really good show, you please do that's fantastic.
Yeah, excellent stuff. So, well, I hope that we're going to be able to see a lot more of you, especially now that we're getting close to the beginning of the real season here.
Sure.
Playing music and the classes, and also your own work as well.
Of course, one of the things that I often do is demonstrate things. So maybe that's something that people might like to see.
Definitely.
Sort of painting in action, that kind of thing.
Yeah, very much so. Watch out for Facebook. So people, if they look for Jeremy Fox-Rayner on Facebook, then they'll find your page, and then you can keep up to date with all the things that Jeremy, and also we should say your wife Evie, are getting up to. Excellent stuff. Well, Jeremy, thank you so much. This has been fascinating. It's lovely sitting here in this lovely garden on this beautiful day.
In the shade of a banana tree.
In the shade of a banana tree. This is life on the Costa Almaria, everybody.
Absolutely so.
How very lucky we are. Jeremy, thank you very much indeed.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.